Being a small editor feels like you're stuck in a loop nobody talks about. You post an edit, check it the next day, and it flops. So you tell yourself you just need to work harder. You spend 3, maybe 5 hours on the next edit, trying to fix everything at once, but it still doesn't hit. And after a while, you stop thinking it's just bad luck and start thinking it's actually your skill. I know because I lived in the cycle for a long time. Over 190 edits to be exact. And for most of that time, I wasn't even close to 10,000 followers. But here's what I didn't understand back then. When people like MrBeast say things like post 100 videos before you judge your channel, they're not talking about luck, they're talking about improvement. Not massive improvement either, just one thing after every single edit. A better hook, cleaner pacing, stronger visuals. Because if you improve even 1% after every single edit, by the time you reach 100 videos, you're not the same editor anymore. But the problem is, most people never make it to that point. They get stuck on the first 20, maybe 30 videos where nothing is working, nothing is hitting, and every upload feels like it's a waste. And that's the phase nobody prepares you for. Not how to become a better editor, but how to survive while you're becoming one. So for this video, I'm not going to teach you how to improve your editing, but more so I'm going to show you how to survive that first 100 video phase of flopping until your work finally starts to catch up with your effort. The first tip for surviving as a small editor is learn how to actually enjoy the process. And I don't mean that in the way people usually say it online, because most people here enjoy the process and think it's just motivational talk, like something you just say when things aren't working. But in editing, it's not advice. It's kinda a requirement, because here's the truth that nobody tells you when you start. Most people don't come into editing because they love editing. They come in because they want something from it. This might be money, views, followers, recognition, and there's nothing wrong with that at the start. But the problem is those things don't show up early. So what you're left with is the only thing that actually does show up, the process and the time that you actually put into it. Hours of cutting clips, rewatching the same 3 seconds over and over, trying ideas that don't work, and posting something you were sure that it would hit, and it flops anyway. And if you only care about results, that phase feels unbearable. Like take for example someone trying to become a doctor, but not because they love the idea of saving lives, or because they enjoy the process of learning and improving, but purely because of the money. At first that sounds logical. Good job, high pay, and high respect. But when they actually start the journey, it becomes something completely different. Long hours of studying, constant pressure, mistakes that actually matter, years of effort before any real reward shows up. And if the only thing pushing you forward is the end result, you're going to burn out long before you even reach it. So tip number 1 is this: you don't survive editing by chasing the outcome. You survive it by learning how to stay in the process long enough for the outcomes to even become possible, which essentially just means enjoying the process. Tip number 2. Accept that the first 50 to 100 edits will probably all be flops. This is probably the hardest truth for any small editor to accept. Not might flop, but 90% sure that they're gonna flop. They're meant to, because in the beginning, your edits aren't really edits yet. Those edits are kind of meant to be used like reps. Most people misunderstand this completely. Many people coming up or starting editing will usually work on maybe 3 to 4 edits, maybe even 10 edits on the good side. But then, after that all their edits are posted, they just see all of them, or mostly all of them have flopped. Then instantly think of quitting, or just scroll on TikTok or YouTube or whatever they're posting their edits on, see that other editors with less skill have blown up and just think their editing is just a luck game. It's true, luck does play a part of it in the algorithm or in social media. But if you post for so long and improve one thing after every single edit you make, then over time it will be impossible for the algorithm to ignore you. Even someone like MrBeast has basically said this in different ways. You need to put out large volume of content before you can even judge yourself properly. And the reason isn't because of luck, it's because you literally don't know what you're doing yet. You don't know what anime, what movie, what editing style you really like, to be fair. And at the start, you're just guessing. You don't fully understand pacing, hooks, retention, pacing changes, or even what makes people stay. So if you only post a few edits and expect results, you're basically judging yourself before you even start learning the game. That's why the first phase feels so brutal, because you're putting everything into each edit. 3 hours, 5 hours, sometimes even more, and then you post it and nothing happens. And when that happens enough time, your brain starts to connect the wrong ideas, such as I'm wasting my time. But what's actually happening is something different. You're just in the part of the process where learning is invisible. And this is where MrBeast's idea really made sense. When he says things like post 100 videos before you judge your channel, he's not saying every video will be good. He's saying you need enough repetition for improvement to even show itself. Because if you improve just one thing per edit, one hook, one transition, even one pacing change, you're not making 100 random videos. You're making 100 individual improvements. 100 skill points, I guess, for gamers into yourself. But here's the catch. most people never reach that point. They quit somewhere around the 10, 20, maybe if you're lucky 30 videos, because every single one feels like they're proof of them failing. When in reality, those videos weren't failures, they were just steps in the training phase. And that's the mindset shift you need to survive this. Your first 50 to 100 edits are not supposed to perform. They are supposed to build the version of you that eventually will. So if your videos are flopping right now, that doesn't mean something is wrong. It means you're still early in the process where nothing is supposed to work yet. And the only time you're actually failing is when you quit. Tip number 3, learning how to detach your identity from your views. And this might be the most important one, because for most small editors, your video isn't just a video, or your edit isn't just an edit. It feels like a reflection of your time. Many people don't see the hours or days you put into these edits. So it doesn't just feel like this edit didn't perform. It feels like the time you spent making the edit was just a waste. And that's where everything starts to break down. Because now you just feel like it's not possible for you to go viral, or for your edits to do well, and that the algorithm is just against you. You start questioning your skill, your creativity, your potential, even if you should keep going or not. But here's the truth most people don't understand. Your video flopping doesn't mean you are bad. It means you didn't get distributed. That's it. There are so many factors outside of you that decide whether a video gets pushed or not. The following could be timing, audience match, initial retention, or random testing by the platform, or even how new your account is. So they are still trying to find the right audience for your account. And none of those are a direct measure of your worth as an editor. But small creators don't see it that way. They take it personally. So every flop feels like rejection, and every good edit feels like validation, which creates a really dangerous cycle, because now your emotions are controlled by outcomes you don't actually fully control. That's why so many people quit early, not because they aren't improving, but because they attach the identity to performance too soon and start treating it like data. But instead, you should start imagining of you as a person. My school, in its entirety for high school, had 5,000 students. Now imagine, because some of my edits have reached millions of views. I always saw my school as being massive, having so many students, but I can't even imagine having 1 million people showing up just to see one edit I made. One edit isn't your identity. 10 edits aren't even your identity. Even 50 edits aren't your identity. It's just a long process of the system figuring out how to distribute your work to the right audience. And the moment you understand that, a video can flop and you don't collapse with it. A video can do well and you don't suddenly think that you've supposedly made it. You just keep building, because your identity is no longer tied to the outcome of one upload. And that's what actually lets you improve or survive long enough to improve. Because if every flop feels personal, you won't make it to your best work. But if you learn to separate you from the performance of your edits, you finally give yourself enough time to actually become good. And the truth is, none of this makes the early phase easier. You're still going to post edits that flop. You're still going to question yourself from time to time. You're still going to feel like nothing is working at times. But if you remember just one thing from all of this, it's that you're not being judged by any of your edits. You just improve. Every failed upload, every quiet edit, every moment you feel like quitting, it was all just part of the process of turning you into the editor you're trying to become. And one day, you'll look back at those first 50, maybe 100 edits if you finally reach there, and realize they weren't wasted at all. They were the reason you were able to make the ones that finally worked. So don't rush this phase. Don't escape it, just survive it. Because the version of you that actually makes it is already being shaped inside you.